Well, good morning everybody. It is 4 AM and I'm on the Somerset levels and I'm hoping to see a dragonfly roost. Well, the morning started well. Pulled into the car park and the first thing we heard was a bit and booming. We heard a cuckoo calling and you can probably hear there's birdsong everywhere. I'm here with Daniel Trim, who you can see behind me, and Ben Andrew, and we're heading to where we've been told the dragonflies have been roosting. It's a beautiful misty morning. Let's hope they're there. Just come down to the site where we think they are, and already I found a few clumps of four-spotted chasers sat at the top of the reeds up here. I tried to frame them with the moon behind, but I couldn't find one in just the perfect spot. There were little clumps of dragonflies, sort of 10 or 15 of them coming out in all little pockets all around here. And as I look up, I can see hobbies flying around taking advantage of the bounty as well. That early in the morning, it was just full of wonderful sights and sounds. I'm also making sure to take some photos while I'm here as well. I get a bit too sidetracked with the video sometimes, but I'm remembering this morning. As you can imagine, before sunrise there was little light, so I was shooting with slow shutter speeds at ISO 800 or more and relying heavily on image stabilisation. To add to the fun, there was a very slight breeze, but at least the subject stayed pretty still in the cool temperatures of the morning. Well, it's 5 AM now. The sun's about to come above the horizon. And already I've seen some nice groups of dragonflies and got a little bit of footage. But I'm hoping when the sun comes up and they start to warm up, the real show is going to begin. As the sun came up, it lit up the dragonflies' wings with a beautiful orange glow. There was a larger gathering of dragonflies further out, but sadly from the path it was obscured by some plants. So I stuck with a group right by the path as the rising sun lit them from behind. A wonderful sight. The sun is now well and truly up and the dragonflies are starting to crawl up the stems a bit more. I've got some nice backlit shots. I've got some shots exposing for the dragonflies' bodies and wings, before getting some shots showing the dragonflies' wings glowing in the sunrise. I also got a few stacked images of a nicely placed individual four-spotted chaser, as I wanted to show the bodies and wings that have been covered in this lovely dew. Finally, I put on the long lens, backed off, and got a lovely blurry foreground shot. It's just been a really wonderful morning so far. A bit further along the path, there was a big group on some reeds. And these dragonflies were starting to really warm up, shuffling along the reeds and starting to beat their wings, which I filmed in slow motion. There was some jostling for position, fighting over the best spots, with the top seeming to be the place to be. And eventually they started to take off. I walked 100 metres back up the path where Ben said there'd been a big group backlit by the sun, but I was quickly distracted Well, the sun's well and truly up. It's about 6:30, 7, something like that. And the dragonflies are all awake. And there's just clouds of them flying around, and the trees behind me. There must be hundreds of them on there. It's absolutely amazing. I've just stopped recording for a bit and just gone for a walk up and down, just taking it all in. There's just thousands of dragonflies in the air around me. Really is something to see. I'm just walking along under clouds of dragonflies. Not sure why the camera's picking them up, but you can hear Perez frogs calling and cuckoos. Shetty's warbler. Amazing. There were hundreds lining the trees and bushes along the path too, which I filmed in slow motion as they took off and landed. The four-spotted chaser dragonfly is one of the UK's commonest and most widespread dragonfly species. It's only known to form large roosts like this in a handful of places, with this one on the Somerset levels thought to be the largest, at least as far as I'm aware. It doesn't form every year, and when it does, it only lasts for a few days or weeks at the end of May and in early June. It's something I've wanted to see for years, so it's wonderful to finally visit. Big thanks to Dan and Ben for inviting me along. I went back to that large gathering, but had largely dispersed. I did manage some shots of a couple of them flying around, and then these two posed nicely, along with this damselfly in between them. Walking along the path, even more four-spotted chasers were warming up, this time on the nettles and other vegetation right by the path, with some taking off and others flying in. And every so often something would set them off, and the whole group would take off. Although it wasn't long until some returned. It wasn't just four-spotted chasers on show. I saw my first ever Perez frog, a relative of the marsh frog I get here in Essex. But these originate from Spain and have a slightly different call. It was now getting a bit later in the morning, so we decided to head back. But as we walked, there was one last four-spotted treat for us. A large group of over 100 were gathered around some tall reeds, and very active with lots flying around, which was great to film in slow motion. But it was time to look elsewhere in the reserve before our long journey home. There were a few damsels gathered in one area, along with some stretch spiders, Tetranatha species. These are probably Tetranatha extensa, which is often found near water. And this damselfly had become entangled in one of their webs. After a bit of struggling, managed to break itself free. At one of the viewpoints, we saw a cormorant sat on a floating platform, and a second flying over, plus a nesting pair of great crested grebes. It had been a great morning. I'd finally seen the Dragonfly Roost and ticked off one of the best wildlife spectacles in the UK, and got some nice shots too. I hope you enjoyed the video. Do consider giving a like and subscribe, and please leave a comment below to let me know what you thought. Thanks for watching.